So we have some angry cruisers for today's news, ladies and gentlemen. They are fired up as they feel as if they are being blackmailed by the cruise lines in terms of gratuity, the auto gratuity, aka the tips on board cruise ships. I'll explain what I mean in today's video. We also have an update from Norwegian Cruise Line, aka NCL, that they will be conducting in 2023, immediately in 2023. On one end, I do agree with one of those policy changes, but on another end, well, not so much. Now, before we dive into today's news, quickly, I do want to say bonjour to all of you. After taking my son ice skating, I quickly hopped on a plane the next morning and flew over to France. Well, it wasn't as quick as I would have hoped. I had a lot of flight delays and a lot of trouble. If you've seen what's going on with Southwest, you're talking about over 15,000 flights being delayed and thousands of cruise ship passengers unfortunately not making it to their cruise unless some of them decided to drive. It's been a gigantic mess. Now, I also want to keep in mind with all of you, I am with my beautiful girlfriend Lauren, and I'll be putting up a video later today outlining my plans for 2023, and you guys are going to be shocked. I'm taking some cruises that, well, a lot of people normally wouldn't take. Either it's a reason because of how expensive it is, or well, it's something that it just wasn't even a thought for them to take. So make sure you check that out on my other channel, Jay the Nomad, 6 p.m. tonight. So let's talk about tips on board cruise ships. It is a very controversial, interesting, and oftentimes confusing topic when it comes to passengers, primarily new and inexperienced cruise ship passengers. By the way, you know what's funny? I just realized that the last time I ever made a video talking about tips was right here in this very room in France. Go figure. I didn't plan this, I swear. But when it comes to tips, a lot of people are apparently feeling, well, according to this Express UK article, that they are being blackmailed into paying tips that they did not consent to. This is the big argument. Now, there are a lot of people, maybe like yourselves out there, that believe that tipping is just a part of life. There are some people that believe that tipping is just a way for companies to, well, in a very disrespectful way, offset with a lack of pay they are paying their employees and just kind of put it on to the consumers, the guests, the customers, the cruise ship passengers. Regardless of how you feel about this situation, the tips do typically come on most cruise lines in some way or form that maybe you are either okay with or that you have a problem with. But nevertheless, they are here to stay at this point in time. Many have argued that maybe it should just go ahead and be included in the fare when you book a cruise and it not even be brought up. The only thing closest to that option is that maybe there are inclusive or all inclusive rather options for cruising in which everything is already paid right out of the gate, or you have the option to auto pay all the gratuities before you even get on board. Then there are some cruise lines out there that are going to charge service fees whenever you decide to book a restaurant, or maybe you buy something, purchase some item or some type of service on board. That unfortunately is something that a lot of people tend to have a problem with. It's basically a set of hidden fees when they maybe have set a potential budget for their cruise, and well, now they have all these little side charges of maybe anywhere between $1 up to $10 anytime they make a purchase on board. A controversial option that a lot of cruisers have that maybe either some new or inexperienced cruisers don't know about is that when it comes to the overall daily gratuities, you can turn that feature off on a lot of cruises. You can just go to guest services and tell them you don't want to do the auto gratuity. For me personally, I know a lot of people frown upon that idea, but I don't care one way or the other. I do believe it's not a situation oftentimes where people just don't want to pay. They are being cheap. Well, that does happen. I want to say every now and then. Let's be real. There are humans out there that make decisions based off of, well, they are trying to get as much as they can for as little bit of cheddar as possible. But there are also the people that are curious as to where the money goes. I understand the situation. You are dealing with a gigantic company whose sole intention is to vacuum as much finances and funds out of you as possible. So maybe you want to be able to directly hand money over to the people that give you the best overall experience, as opposed to you not having a choice. I personally understand, and I believe that if you're going to make a decision to pay for a cruise and you want to decide to opt out of the auto gratuity, then by all means, do what you do. It's not my money, it's yours. So the fact that people get so angry about that sometimes, I don't know, I think it's strange. Unless you know for a fact they are just being cheap. I mean, even then, we can't judge. We've all been cheap in our own ways in our time. I don't want to dive too deep into this ship size topic, but I do want to hear from all of you fine folk. What do you think when it comes to auto gratuities on cruise ships? Do you think that you should be able to have the option on whether you pay or not? Do you think it should just be included in one lump sum, added to the fare of the cruise? Or do you think that, well, everybody should just suck it up and just take it for what it is, whether it's blackmail or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Moving on, in regards to NCL news, we have a two-piece, as NCL has announced that starting in 2023, they are going to be reducing the amount of times the room stewards are going to be cleaning your room. Well, this actually wasn't announced. It was kind of leaked out by the Crew Center online, and well, everybody's running wild with it. So NCL has stated that starting as early as January 8th, 2023 on the NCL Epic, they are going to reduce the amount of times room stewards are going to rooms that are the equivalent of the club balcony suites and lower from 2 cleanings per day to just 1, and they expect to have the entire fleet operating this way by March 30th of 2023. It appears that with the exception on NCL ships of the Haven suites or equivalent, they are going to be the only ones that are going to be receiving 2 cleanings per day. But I do gotta say, as somebody that sails with multiple lines, especially in the mainstream, NCL is one of the few cruise lines that is still doing 2 cleanings per day in each room, whether it be an inside balcony or ocean view. I was just on board MSC's new ship, the MSC Seascape, and well, they still offered 2 cleanings per day. I thought was a little unnecessary. I kind of felt like I was being pampered at that point. NCL has said that all this is going to be due to them working on environmental sustainability, saving energy and water and all that. I don't even think there needs to be an excuse. I believe that 1 cleaning per day is more than enough for any passenger on board, and well, they just have to suck it up if they want more than that, or they should just go ahead and book a Haven suite. This, unfortunately, will also be a bittersweet moment for the room stewards on board NCL ships, because normally there are 2 positions. There is the actual room steward and there is a junior room steward on board NCL ships. However, with NCL implementing this change moving forward in 2023, they are going to start the process of completely eliminating the junior room steward role. And anybody that is a room steward during this current contract, well, they won't have that position to go back to, and most of them will be upgraded and promoted to an actual room steward. However, on the flip side of that, for the room stewards, they will see a slight reduction in salary, which does suck, obviously. Now, here is the part that affects all of you fine folk. You see, NCL has announced that in 2023, they will also be increasing their auto gratuities for your cruise. That is the daily gratuity that you are charged. So, for example, if you're staying in a club, balcony suite, or lower, well, you're going to be paying an extra $4 at $20 a day for your room. If you are staying in one of the suites, the Haven suite that is, it's going to be a $5 increase and you'll be paying $25 per day. Some people will see that as not a big deal, but if you factor that in, $25 per day for a 7-day cruise, it does add up to maybe a potential, well, blemish in the charge that you didn't expect for your vacation. But either way, it is what it is. However, nobody quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, I thought there was an increase that started at the beginning of this year for NCL as well. I believe a lot of the cruise lines started. It could be a situation, as most of you know, we are kind of sailing into a little bit of a rough time economically for the United States and even the world. Many would claim that we're already in a recession, so maybe the cruise lines are trying to get ahead of that and continue making as much profit as possible, which is not wrong. It's just business, so they can stay afloat, pun intended, by the way. But when it does come to NCL, most of you know I'm a former crew member for NCL. I have also sailed on their newest ship, the NCL Prima. I didn't have the greatest time. I do believe that overall NCL is a great cruise line. They could be, on my list anyway, maybe for all of you, one of the greats if they had simply just stopped, as according to many, nickel and diming as much as they do. There are some things they do as far as their system. For me, maybe a lot of you out there love it. I know there are some NCL loyalists out there. Maybe you don't mind the way they do things, but for me, some of the things they do is just kind of questionable. However, I will sail with NCL again. I do want to go on another one of their breakaway class ships, as I've never been on board as a passenger, only when I was working on the NCL Escape. So we will see. I will be checking out their function, their system, how they do things in 2023, and I'll get back to all of you and let you know what I truly think as far as the changes that have occurred. Anyway, that's what we got for today's video. I still have reviews coming up. I have to do a review of the Carnival celebration when I went on for a regular revenue sailing. I'm going to get that up before the end of the year. I also got to do a regular video too, talking about the new cruise ships that are coming in 2023. Very exciting as usual. Haven't done that video yet. And I also have a review of Wonder of the Sea. So stay tuned for all of that, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below. As usual, know that I appreciate and love every single one of you. Go subscribe to my other channel, Jay the Nomad. Also, of course, check out touring plans for all of your vacation and booking needs. The link is in the description box below. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you later. Take it easy. Or au revoir. That's French for bye.